Hey guys, Algebra 2, Day 2. We are still working with circles. Remember, our equation is x minus h, h being where the x value for our center is, and k is our y value for the center of our circle. So today, we're going to take the equation of the circle, find the center, and find the radius. So, example 5 says, find the center and radius of a circle with an equation of x minus 16 squared plus y plus 9 squared equals 144. So, first thing we're going to do is we are going to find where our x value is. Our x value is... Hair's here. Come here, Hair. Hi, Hair. Let everybody say hi to you. Yeah. Hair's my puppy. She's a good girl. She wants to learn some Algebra 2 also. Okay. So, back to Algebra 2. We have x minus 16. So, 16, notice it's a minus 8. So that means that our center is going to be at 16, and our y value, it's supposed to be a minus. So this really becomes y minus a negative 9. Because remember, it's a minus, that's what we have here. So our y value is at negative 9. That is where the center is. Now, we have to find what my radius is. Remember that 144 is equal to my radius squared. So that means I have to take the square root of 144, which is 12. So 12 is equal to my radius. So my radius is 12, and the center of the circle is at 16, negative 9. Now, let's look at example 6. Example 6 says, find the center and the radius of a circle with the equation x plus 8 squared plus y plus 3 squared. And that's equal to 121. So I am going to rewrite this. We need this in the form x minus. Currently this is an x plus. In order to get it to a minus, it would be x minus a negative 8 squared plus a y minus a negative 3 squared is equal to 121. Now, that makes it really easy for us to find our center once we've rewritten it this way. And it should make sense in your brain that we always want this to be a minus, and a negative times a negative becomes a positive. So, since we want this, or since we have it already written in this form, which is this form, we know then that our center is at a negative 8, negative 3. Because all we have to do is have the values of the minus. And then my radius is equal to, really, let me rewrite it as 121 is equal to my radius squared. So I have to take the square root of 121 to find my radius. The square root of 121 is 11. So 11 is my radius. So when they asked for our center, we found it at negative 8, negative 3. And my radius is the square root of this number, which is 120, or which is the square root of 121, or 11. Let's look at example 7. Now, this is asking us to graph this, but we can't graph it until we find our center and our radius. So we are given x plus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared, and that's equal to 9. I'm going to want to rewrite this because this is not set up in x minus, it's x plus. In order to get this into x minus, remember a negative times a negative is a positive. So we're going to rewrite it as x minus a negative 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 9. Now it should be evident where our center is. Our center is at negative 1 and 3. And then remember, our radius is squared, so that means that r squared is equal to 9. The square root of 9 is 3, so that means that r is equal to 3. And now we can graph it, knowing where our center is and what the radius is.
So we've already discovered that my center is going to be at negative 1, 3, and my radius is going to be 3. So to graph this, first I'm going to plot my center at negative 1, 3. With a radius of 3, I'm going to just put a dot at 3 over, up, over, and down, and attempt to make a circle with a radius of 3 around what I already know my center to be.
So let's do example 8. Example 8 is giving us x minus 4 squared plus y plus 2 squared is equal to 4. Because my y is not in a minus, I'm going to rewrite it so that it is in a negative form. If you know how to do this in your head, fantastic. But if you don't, that's why I'm doing it. So I have x minus 4 squared. That looks like this, so that we can see what our center is, plus y minus a negative 2 is equal to 4. So now it's easy for us to see what our center is. It's easy for us to see that our center is at 4, because it's x minus where my center is, and negative 2. And then my radius, remember my radius, r squared, is equal to 4. My radius is equal to, r squared is equal to this number, which means that my radius is equal to 2, or the square root of 4. If it doesn't come out to be a perfect square, we can just write it as the square root. If this was a 5, we could just write it as my radius is equal to the square root of 5. You don't need to give me the exact digits. Now that we know my radius and my center, we are able to graph. We're done.
So we already found our center to be at 4, negative 2, and my radius to be 2. So now to plot this, I'm going to plot my center, which is at 4 and negative 2. And then with a radius of 2. So I'm going to put a dot, 2 over, 2 up, 2 over, and 2 down. And then attempt to draw a fairly uniform circle. Fail miserably. That's all right. We're not all fantastic at everything.